Hi, welcome to the 16th episode of the New England Gal Knits podcast. I am Janet and I live in Massachusetts with my husband, our two boys, our cat, and our dog. You can find me on Ravelry and Instagram at the New England Gal. If you're a returning viewer, welcome back. And if you're a new viewer, welcome to the podcast. I hope you enjoy it. I do just want to take a few minutes just to thank everybody again for subscribing to my channel and liking my videos and leaving such wonderful, kind comments. It really does mean a lot and it makes my day seeing that. There are a couple comments I have not responded to yet, and I feel bad. I've been kind of off of social media, half on purpose, half not, over the past few weeks, so I haven't had a chance to respond, but I'll hopefully do that shortly. I ended up deactivating my Facebook account, and I have to say the past 2 weeks, without all that negativity and being pummeled by information on Facebook, I've been much more relaxed and just kind of catching up on the news, on headlines. I'm finding it much more pleasant and relaxing over the past few weeks not having Facebook to distract me. I am still on Instagram. I love Instagram. I do find it a much more positive platform, so I don't think I'll ever go off of that, but I haven't had a whole lot of time over the last few weeks to be on YouTube or Instagram, and YouTube I'm going to have a lot of podcasts I need to catch up on, so I'll be busy catching up on those the next few weeks. But anyways, I should just jump on in rather than continuing to ramble. So I guess I'll start with my one finished object. So as you can see, I finished the Feyre shawl, and this is a pattern by Shannon Cook. And let me take it off. So this is a worsted weight shawl. I used Patons Classic Worsted in their dark gray marl and their Aran color weight. And I love the way this comes out. I love the way it drapes. I love how I can throw it over my shoulders and it keeps me warm. It is really warm. The only problem is I finished this just in time for the 70-degree weather, so probably won't get much use out of it for the rest of the spring and obviously the summer, but it'll come in handy come this fall. But I just love this, the different textures. It was quick to knit up and it was fun. I love shawls that it's not just one specific pattern, that you're switching it up constantly. It keeps it entertaining and kind of keeps you on your toes, and you want to get to the next section and get to the next section. So this flew off my needles. I really enjoyed knitting this, and I also love just the drape of it, the way it drapes. And I don't normally wear my shawls like this, but I'm gonna try and say it. I love the way this just falls, and the way it fits in the back. It's perfect. It's absolutely perfect. So I can't wait for the fall when it starts getting cooler again and I can take it out and wear it. And I think I'm just gonna wear it like this the rest of the podcast. So that is my only finished object. And I think I'll, for my works in progress, start with the other shawl I am working on. So it's being housed in my Fringe Supply field bag in the plaid, the wax canvas plaid. I love this bag, and the handle is finally softening up. I have the black field bag, and the leather handle, it's like butter. It is soft and flexible, and this one is finally getting there. So anyways, in my field bag I have my Bough shawl, and here is what I have so far. And this is a pattern by Woolenberry, and let me show you the picture. And here is the picture of it. So right now I am just in a sea of seed stitch. So it is, so here's where I was actually 2 weeks ago when I podcasted last. So I actually have gotten quite a bit done, especially for spending the majority of the time on this shawl. I have to say it is slow going. Although I think with the worsted weight yarn, it's going a little bit faster. It is, you know, seed stitch, knit, purl, knit, purl, knit, purl. So it is a little bit tedious, and I'm not a big fan of 1x1 ribbing. I find it go slower, so, but it's going, and I do love the way it's coming out. It's nice and soft and squishy. I did switch them to my Luca needles. So I had originally started these on my Chow Goo interchangeable ones, and then I had this shawl on these needles, and I love these needles for shawl knitting. I don't think I could use them for a smaller project like socks because of the wood with the dragging. I do like having my metal needles for my socks, but I love knitting shawls on these needles. So this is a 32-inch cord. So as you can imagine, this was really scrunched up towards the end on the needle. So I do want to try and pick up a size of 40-inch circular needle for when the shawls get larger. But I'm loving the needles and I'm enjoying the project. It is mindless. We watched a movie Saturday night, and it was nice and easy to work on and relaxing to sit there and pay attention to the movie and not have to think too much on the project. So I am enjoying this, and again, another worsted weight shawl. By the time I'm finished, it's going to be too warm to wear it. That is my only project. That is not a pair of socks. I have 4 pairs of socks currently on the needles. One I'm not going to show you because I have about this much of ribbing done, and I'll show you next time when I have more done. But I'll start off with my one pattern socks that I'm working on, and this is being kept, and this is a brand called My Needle Crafts, and this is her sock bag. And I love her bags. They're a nice quality. It's like a linen canvas material. So I love this. So I am working on the special, I think I had problems saying this in my last podcast too, the Speckled Space socks. So here is what I have. This is still my first sock, so I haven't gotten too far on this, and I'm hoping you can see the pattern. And then here's the back. I love the way this is looking. I love the way it's micro striping. And this is being knit out of Artistic Lilies in her Baby Light My Fire colorway. So, and it's beautiful. It's magenta and purple and orange and yellow. Nice and springy and summery colors. So the pattern does call for you to knit toe up. I am going to end up doing the fish lips kiss heel on it. I think I had mentioned last time that the pattern calls for a heel flap and gusset, which I've never done on a toe up sock. And honestly, I leave this on my kitchen island and I work on this while I'm making dinner, while the kids are doing their homework. Anytime I'm in the kitchen, I pick this up and knit on it, and I honestly couldn't be bothered to. I keep the chart on the island, but I couldn't bother to take out the pattern to look at the heel. So I typically do my foot until it's 7.5 inches, and then I'll throw in the heel, and then I'll continue up the leg. But I'm enjoying this. I do have to say, I need to figure out how to do a cable too without a cable needle. I think I had mentioned with my Zweig sweater, I had tried it, and one of the cables, and I can't remember if it was cable left or cable right, didn't look quite right. So I ended up using the cable needle on the Zweig, but I need to really look at how to do the cables without a needle, because I think this will go much faster if I can learn how to do that. But I am enjoying this immensely, so I can't wait to have it done and in time for the summer. These are the perfect summer socks. So the other 2 socks I'm going to share with you are just plain old vanilla socks. So, and these are being housed in my, this is Lila Styles with Dobby on it, which I find quite fitting that Dobby is being used for holding my socks. So the first socks, let me share, are, I've been obsessed with striped socks lately. I've bought, actually I have to say I do have some yarn purchases. None of them are striped yarn, so, which is good because I've probably bought about 5 of them over the last few months. And I have to say I have 2 more in my cart on Etsy, and I really just need to delete them out. I need to work on what I have. But my first vanilla socks here, this is the Yarn Jar in her Snowbird colorway. So I have one sock done just without the heel, and then I am working on the second sock, and I have put in for the heel already. So I have, I think, one more, yep, I have one more repeat, color repeat for the stripes before I can start putting in the cuff. So I'll hopefully have these done pretty soon. I'm really enjoying these. These are on my ChowGoo 9-inch circular needles and 64 stitches on a US 1. So I love the colorway. I love the speckles in there. And here's the ball, and I'm doing the Susan B. Anderson Smooth Operator pattern for the heel. So I'm just gonna do the heels in the stripes as well. As much as I love the contrasting toes and heels, I find that I have anywhere between 35 and 45 grams of sock yarn left after I've completed a pair of socks, and I'm trying to really kind of cut down on how much I have left over. So, and I'm not quite sure how to do it. I've been toying with going down to a US 0 needle and doing 72 stitches and seeing how that works up, but the thought of 72 stitches on a US 0 is intimidating. I'm thinking of how long it's going to take to knit a sock on those, and just to get used to something, the needle's that small. But either that or I really need to start knitting shorty socks. So one or the other, but I need to stop having so much yarn left over. Maybe I could do a scrappy cowl too, just to use up some of that extra yarn that I have, because I'm really starting to collect quite a bit. So, and then my last work in progress, another pair of vanilla socks. So, and this is the first sock. I haven't started the second yet. So, and I have the yarn put in for the heel on this one as well. And this is Sweet Georgia in her Tough Love sock base in the Stormchaser colorway. And here's the ball. So I made 2 50-gram balls on this. I haven't started the second one yet though. But this, I think I had mentioned, was from my leftover from my Find Your Fade shawl, which I'm on the 4th color right now, and I've just decided I think I'm just gonna frog it. I have no desire to pick it back up. I'm at the point where I have thoroughly messed up all my numbers, and I don't know how to correct it or how far I need to go back to correct the numbers. So I think I'm just gonna frog it, and I may do a So Faded sweater with the 3 full skeins of yarn that I had set aside for it, and I'll show that to you later. But this was anyways left over from that shawl, and this was the 2nd color, so I had quite a bit left. I think I had 79 grams left of the yarn, so I have definitely enough for a full pair of socks. So that is it for my works in progress. So I did actually manage to get some sewing done, not this past weekend, but the weekend before. So I wanted to kind of share what I had sewn, and It is not the Holly Burn skirt. I did buy material for it. I'm actually almost done. I had just put in the zipper. However, the zipper, I have to rip it out and I have to figure out where I went wrong. It's poking out at the side. It's awkward. I'm finding I used to quilt. Quilting seems to be a lot easier than knitting apparel. So I put that to the side. I'm gonna try and figure out what I did wrong and how to fix it. Hopefully, my mom used to sew a lot of clothes, so I'll have my mom take a look and see what she says. But I did sew up a couple project bags. So I've sewed up 3 drawstring bags, and these were all out of material I had left over from quilting projects, and they're all in batik material. So nice and bright and fluorescent. So the pattern I used for these was off of a blog in colored order, and I'll have the link to the blog post down below. So, but I am very pleased with the way these came out, and I'm gonna throw one of my pairs of socks I'm working on in here after I'm done. But I ended up picking up, because they had, in the blog post, they had where you could make your own fabric pulls. I wasn't going to play around with the fabric pulls to sit there and sew a thin strip of fabric and then to turn it inside out. I went on to Etsy and I had picked up some cotton twill ribbon, which I used on this. And then I also picked up some cotton ribbon with some hot pink French striping. And I love the way these came out. They're cute little sock sacks. So I am very pleased with these, and they were super quick and easy to make. I will this weekend. So this weekend, my boys and my husband are going camping, both boys and my husband. So I will have the house to myself in peace and quiet. So I think on Saturday, I have no plans. So I think on Saturday, I'm gonna take some time and sew up a few more of these. I have a lot of leftover material, and there's not, it doesn't take that much material to sew these, so I'm looking forward to working on those. And actually, let me show you the material I have set aside for the ones I want to work on. So this may have been a little choppy. I didn't bring over the material that I wanted to share, so I had to go grab it. And in the meantime, are you going to get down now, or are you going to join us? He didn't want to stay. In the meantime, he had jumped up, and as always, he seems to always take my spot. I get up and he takes over. So anyways, let me share the material for the project bags I want to work on. So here is the first one. Is this cute little forest print with bears, and there's a bunny and some foxes and a deer, and there's little hedgehogs as well hiding in there. So, and I think I'm gonna pair it with this material, which is another batik. I love batiks. I have a lot of batiks left over from my quilting days. So that's the first project bag, and I think I'm just gonna do cream colored liners for them just to make it easier. But then my next one, and I haven't quite decided what colors I want to use. So here is this cute little, it's dragonflies on this, and lightning bugs, which is a pretty print. And then I have this one in turquoise that was part of the same series. So I don't know if I'm going to use this, but I also have this as well that I thought goes nicely with it. So I haven't quite decided exactly what I'm going to use with this one yet. What do you guys think? I think I'm leaning towards this, and then I can do project bags This was another one from the same series, and maybe do a project bag with these. I have a lot of sewing plans this weekend. So, but I'm looking forward to it and I'm enjoying it. And so I have a ton of this left that I can use this as the accent color for multiple bags. So I have this print as well. So I figured this, and then I also have, there's not a whole lot of this, but enough scraps that this can be the accent color to go with this one as well. So anyways, I have a lot of sewing that I'm hoping to get accomplished this weekend while I have the house to myself and I can make a mess of the dining room table and not have to put the sewing machine away as soon as I'm finished with it. So we'll see. We'll see. I always, like I said, I feel like I do accomplish quite a bit, but I set my goals so high that I don't accomplish everything I want to. But peace and quiet this weekend, and then I can sit there and enjoy and make some project bags. So I did purchase a few skeins of yarn, as well as I picked up a book as well, so I did want to share those. So my first yarn that I picked up, so I discovered a new podcast, Pip and Pin podcast, and she was talking about this brand 6 in 7 fiber, which I hadn't, there's a lot I haven't heard of, and I'm always late to the game, and the majority of you have probably heard of this brand. But she was showing some of the skeins of yarn that she had purchased, and the aesthetic and the coloring was just right up my alley. So I jumped on and I had picked up this color, and this is Embers at Dawn. And it's this beautiful lavender and purple with a beautiful orange speckles. And in the description it said that it was based off of a fall morning when the campfire is running low, and it does. It's beautiful. So this is a worsted weight, so I don't know quite what I'm going to do with this yet. Probably end up being a hat, but it is beautiful and I'm extremely pleased with this. And she has some other gorgeous colorways that I'll have to find a project to use for them. And then the other two skeins of yarn, so Moonstone Dye Works, whose owner is Tommy, she was having a sale. She was calling them the Orphans and Experiment sale, and put some skeins of yarn in her shop for $10, and I jumped right on that. So I ended up picking up two of them. So the first one I picked up is her Castle's Color. These beautiful shades of blue and purples and a little bit of red in there, red speckles as well. And this is a 100% superwash fingering weight merino wool. So, and this is stunning. This is going to be, so my brother and my sister-in-law are expecting their first baby in July. It's going to be a little girl, but she's not, my sister-in-law is not one of those pinky, frilly, girly types, so I figured this has some purples and reds and a little bit of pink in it, but mainly blue. So this is going to become a flax light sweater for the baby, and I'll probably end up doing the 6 to 12 months so that she'll fit into it for the fall and beginning of the winter. And I apologize if you hear that jingling. It's my dog's collar. He is, I'm not quite sure what he's doing, but he's making a lot of noise over there in the corner. And then the second one I picked up was, this is called Abandon, and this is a 100% non-superwash merino. And this is beautiful as well. I'm taking the tag off here. With, there's purples and greens and reds, and yeah, just, this is beautiful. So I don't know what this is going to be yet. And it's a non-superwash, so I don't want to, and it's 100% merino. So it'll probably end up being a hat, or I'll make it into a shawl. But again, I love her yarn. I think these are the 3rd and 4th skeins of yarn I purchased from her, and she never disappoints. She's one of those dyers, and same with Woolenberry yarns, that every single skein is gorgeous and on point, and it's exceptional. So I was very pleased to grab these. So, and the final purchase I did, because the 3 skeins weren't enough, I was watching the Espace Tricot podcast, and one of them was talking about how she had done, I'm going to try and find the pattern, I should have put a bookmark in here. She had done this tunic, the Lark tunic, and these are all by Pam Allen, and it was out of this book, Plain and Simple. So I went on right away. Here's a picture of the sweater. So I went on right away. I went to Barnes & Noble online and ended up purchasing that, because I love Ravelry, because you can go on there and you can look at all the patterns in a book or a magazine and see whether or not it's worth buying the print. And I have to say, I would love to knit. I love this cowl. I would love to knit every single one of these patterns. And then even the one on the cover is beautiful. And they're just simple and plain. Now these are all knit out of Quince & Co. Owl, but I believe they used, for the tunic, it was Brooklyn Tweed Shelter is what, can't remember who was it that had knit it on Espace Tricot, but they had used Brooklyn Tweed Shelter, so I may pick up some of that to knit on this. But I think all of my sweater knitting right now is kind of, all of my heavyweight sweater knitting I think I'm putting to the side. It's starting to warm up now, and I am just not in the mood to knit on something heavy. I've actually put my Sunset Highway sweater to the side. Not that I'm not enjoying it, but I spent 2 hours the other day knitting on the body, and I got only 2 inches on the body done, and I feel like it's a slog right now. It's just all stock in that, and it's just not growing as fast as I want it to grow. So I've kind of put that to the side, and I figure I am going to cast on another sweater, a summer top sweater. So I guess I'll talk about kind of what I want to knit and what my plans are, and this is kind of where the exciting news comes in. So I finally set up a Ravelry group. So it's the New England Gal Knits podcast group, and you can just search for it under the tab. So I'll put my show notes there, as well as I always put my show notes in the bottom as well. And also I have an introduction thread right now on there, and that's about it. However, I am planning on my first cowl. So this is going to be the summertime top cowl. So any type of summer top, whether it's short sleeves or a tank top. I'm gonna be very loose. There's not a whole lot of rules to it. You can knit it out of wool or linen or whatever, cotton, whatever you want to knit it out of. So anyways, for my first one, I'm planning on 2. So I'm going to do it starting now. So as soon as this podcast comes up until, I'm gonna say July 15th, to knit a t-shirt or a tank top, whatever you would like. So the first one that I'm going to cast on, I'm not gonna try and say it, because it is Danish and I will mess it up, but this is by Fiber Tales, and she has a podcast as well that I had just discovered and have been binge watching. I love everything she knits, and she knits with more rustic, more conscious wool. She grew up on a sheep farm, so using the wool from the sheep, and I love her aesthetic, everything she's knit on, the wool that she's chosen. So anyways, this is the sweater I am going to knit. Now it is long sleeves, however, and I'll leave a link to the project page below, but one of her test knitters knit it with short sleeves, and that's what I'm going to plan on doing. It's not that you can tell too much by this picture, but it is boxier. So I am going to knit it out of Brooklyn Tweed Loft, and this is in the Snowbound color. So I had 6 of these skeins laying around. I had started the Yoga Shawl by Andrea Mowry, and my gauge was way off, way off. It was coming out way too small. So I ended up frogging it for the time being. I will eventually knit it, but I think I want to knit it in a different color. I think I want to go a little bit darker. So I have this big ball. I had knit 3 skeins into the Yoga Shawl, so I ended up frogging it and making this large ball, and I've started to do the swatch for it. So I had the swatch done in a size 4, and I looked at it, which is what a US size 4, which is what the pattern calls for. My gauge was way off, so I've gone up to a size 5, but I have a feeling I will need to go up to a size 6. So I think I'm going to do about a ½ inch more on the size 5, then I'll go into the size 6, block the swatch, and see which one works for the gauge. So my original gauge, it was getting 30 stitches for the 4 inches, and it's supposed to be 24 stitches per 4 inches. So I was way off. Even with blocking, it would not have blocked that big. So that is what I plan on casting on. I want to concentrate this next week on getting my bow shawl complete, because I think I'm going to end up, and I'm hoping, I don't think my friend watches my podcast, but it's going to be her birthday present, so I want to get that done so that I can cast this on, because I'm very excited. And it's tough. The picture, it's so dark, but there's lateral braids, and then there's also bobbles, and I haven't done either, so these are 2 new techniques that I'm very, very excited for. And then I guess the last knitting thing I want to talk to is just quickly, I do want to knit the So Faded by Andrea Mowry, and I'll do the short sleeve version so it'll fit into my summer top. So these are the 3 yarns I had picked out. So these were left over from my Find Your Fade shawl that I'm not going to be completing. So, and I love these yarns and I want them in something special. So this is what my So Faded is going to be. And this top one, this is spun right round, and this is in her Swamp Thing color. I love this. I love this blue color and this cobalt blue. These, I don't think she dyes this color anymore, and I love it. I would do a whole sweater in it. This just screams summer to me. And then this one is Pineapple Yarns, and this is in her Electric Beach colorway. So it has some of those bright greens in it, as well as some magenta. And this is a single ply, so I've got an 80-20, a single ply 100% merino, and then 80-10-10, and this is Western Sky Knits, and this is in the Nightfall colorway, and this is a merino cashmere nylon blend. So it'll be a very textured sweater, but I love the way these colors play, so I'm excited to get that cast on as well. And I'm hoping with them being summer tops and short sleeves that I'll be able to get these knit pretty quickly. And I believe the short sleeve So Faded is cropped, and this is the one by Fiber Tales, and again, I'll put the name down below, but this is kind of cropped as well. So I'm hoping that these will knit up quickly, and I'm excited to get them both on the needles. So that is it for all of the knitting I have to share, which I feel like has been quite a bit. And these 2 weeks they've been nice. I have to say, this is the problem with getting old. So I remember what I did last week, but 2 weeks ago, I should have written it down because I don't remember what I did. So obviously, other than soccer, there wasn't much going on. I know the Friday, so last week was school vacation. So the Friday before school vacation, we got together with a whole group of friends and had Chinese food that Friday. And then, honestly, I don't think we did anything else that weekend. Maybe. It's so bad I don't remember. But last week was crazy. So the boys were on vacation. They had something to do every single day. My husband was actually home with them. I couldn't get the time off from work, so I had to work. But the boys had a great time. And my husband works long hours during the week, so it was kind of nice. They had one-on-one time with him. On Tuesday night, I did end up going with my younger son. One of my friends bought tickets to a Harry Potter kids night out at Playtime, which is a paint your own pottery place close to us. So we went there and we had the best time. I don't have the pottery to show you. I'll have it for my next podcast, but they keep it there to glaze it and fire it. But I ended up making a mug, and my youngest son ended up painting. There was this cute little owl box, and you take the head off and you can put things in it, ceramic owl box. So he wanted it to look like Hedwig, so he put a few black dots on it and called it a day. So hopefully we'll be picking those up later on this week. And it was so much fun. They had a photo booth. I'll stick a picture of my son that I took in the photo booth, and he had the sorting hat on him with the scarf. And then they did Harry Potter trivia. They had some really cute Harry Potter snacks there. So they had Butterbear, and they had little candy golden snitches and Bertie Bott's beans, which I think were just regular jelly beans. But it was really, really nice and enjoyable. So we did that. And then I didn't have much knitting time because randomly I ended up buying a new car, which is exciting. I'm very excited. I have a new Subaru Forester. This is my 3rd Subaru Forester, and I love them. I honestly don't think I will ever own another car, but this one, it's an upgrade. So I had the base model before, and now I have a sunroof and heated seats, and I feel very luxurious driving in it. So, but like with every car purchase, it was 2 hours were spent on Wednesday signing the purchase and sales, and then there were 2 hours the following day picking up the plates, and then I ended up having to go back Saturday to get the registration and the inspection taken care of. So there was a lot of hours spent at the dealership, so there wasn't much knitting time over the past week, although I was quite happy with what I had done. So anyways, that is it for the podcast. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please consider liking and subscribing to my channel. And thank you so much. I hope you have a great 2 weeks ahead. Bye.